this. Perfect. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ben Juliana. I'm the coordinator of student activities, and I work in the Office of Student Development and Activities. We really started onboarding MMC Engage right around the time we went remote back in March. So it's still relatively new for a lot of people, but since then, I have somehow become the MMC Engage guru. I've really done a good handful of these trainings to various groups of MMC community members so far. All that's to say that if I start talking too quickly or I say something that makes sense to me but might not make sense to you, please just stop me and let me know. I want to make sure that you all understand this and I'm not going too quickly. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you all. There are two ways to access MMC Engage. One way is to download the MMC Engage app on your mobile device. It works for Apple and Android, both phones and tablets. Or you can go to the desktop version, which is engage.mmm.edu. So I'm going to go there first. And it's going to ask me to sign in. And with that, we can just use the MMC credentials that we use to log into our email addresses. So as soon as you log in, you will be at the home page. And this is what the home page looks like. It's going to look slightly different depending on who's viewing it. One really incredible thing about MMC Engage is you can really customize who sees what and who has access to what. And that's going to be a theme that we see throughout this training today. So for example, this big button, this Welcome Weekend Orientation button, as well as this Involvement Fair button right here, are only accessible to our new students and the faculty and staff members who are working on these programs. So if you weren't a part of it, you're not going to see those. But you will see the other 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons right here, the IT assistance, upcoming campus events, navigating MMC Engage, and restart MMC. These 6 buttons are all customizable, and you will see them change throughout the academic year and throughout each semester, just to highlight a few things that are happening on the homepage. If you scroll down, you'll also see upcoming events that are happening. They scroll through automatically, some user guidelines, as well as all the groups that I'm a part of. Before we go into groups and events, I'm going to give you just a brief tour of what's happening up here with these icons. Starting in the left corner, this hamburger menu or accordion menu just opens and closes this dark gray menu, which we call the user menu. If you click either the MMC logo or the home button, it'll bring you right back here where all these buttons are. This groups icon, this 3 people with the drop-down arrow shows all the groups that you're a part of, and then you can access all the groups right here as well, which we will get into later in the training. This one, this calendar with the green number next to it, displays how many upcoming events are happening on MMC Engage. This little key is admin access only, so you may or may not see that, so we won't get into it too much because it's not necessarily important for this part of the training. On the right-hand side, these are a lot more standard icons that you'll see. This is a search bar, so you can search MMC Engage. This green leaf is the sustainability link, so this actually links to the mmm.edu/sustainability, just to talk about sustainability at Marymount. This star allows you to bookmark whatever page that you're on. This chat function, this little chat bubble right here, opens up the chat feature where you can chat with either individuals or group chats, which we'll get into a little later in the training as well. This bell is the notifications option, and so you can see all the notifications about all the groups that you're a part of, and you can customize the notification settings as well. So you can get either text notifications, email notifications, push notifications, what have you, is really depending on what you want to do in the notification settings. And then finally, we're going to start our tour here with the profile button. If you click this button right here, you'll see this drop-down menu where you get a lot of like the notification settings, privacy settings, log out, things like that. This is also where you can access editing your profile. As you can see, my profile is 100%. It's perfect. So I think this is a good one to model, if I can say so myself. What you want to do is click on your name right here, and it opens up a little pop-up window. This is where you can either add a profile picture or add a cover photo if you'd like, and then general information, interests, what you're looking for, your bio, etc., using this little pencil menu or pencil icon. If you click it for interests, it comes up with this whole list of anything that you could possibly be interested in. So if I was really interested in energy, I can click that. Or if I went all the way down here and I was interested in sports, I could go ahead and click that. The possibilities really are endless here, because if there isn't something that you see that you're interested in, you can scroll all the way to the bottom and create a new interest. But there's, like I said, there's tons of possibilities for that. So once you do that, you press save. And you can also do the same with what you're looking for. These options are a lot more limited. You're only able to pick from these handful right here. You can click as many as you'd like, but you're not able to create your own. So that's what you're looking for out of MMC Engage. You also don't have to put anything if you don't want to. Adding a bio, I just took that from the Marymount website. You can add sports if you'd like. I'm not interested in any sports, so I didn't add any. And then you can see my career interests as well, followed by any groups that I'm a part of, my resume, things of that nature. If you wanted to see a bigger snapshot of what your profile looks like, you can click on your name again, and it'll open up a new tab. And again, here's all the same information, but it's just on the full screen rather than that little pop-out menu. So again, you can see my biography, you can see my interests, you can see my groups, things of that nature, events that I'm hosting in the future. You can also attach any social media that you'd like. I have my personal LinkedIn profile, but the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all student development and activities. That's really up to you how you really want to create it. If you go over to the user menu over here in the dark gray and press edit profile, this is again where you can get that back of house view of your profile to really edit it however you would like. As you can see here, you can put in any of this information. None of it is really required except your first name, last name, account type, and email address. You can scroll through these tabs up top if you wanted to add any resume information like your school, contact information, et cetera, like most other profiles that we've set up online. You can also search here for other interests, industries, what you're looking for, et cetera. And then if you go back to the profile, that's what it would look like. One really important thing that I really like to stress is your interests. I would suggest building out your interests as much as possible, because MMC Engage does this it does a really good job of updating in real time, so you can connect with as many faculty members, as many staff members, as many students as possible. I'll show you an example of what that looks like right now. If you go back to the home page, actually, one thing I did forget to mention previously is no matter where you are on the home page, no matter what page you're on MMC Engage, it's going to show up with this blue color. So right now I'm on the home page, which is why the home is highlighted in blue. If I go to the events tab, this would be highlighted in blue, and the same with the groups tab. So it could be possible that you find yourself in this rabbit hole just deep down somewhere in MMC Engage, and you can always look to see what tab is blue to really help you identify where you are in the website. As I was saying about interests, one of the options on the user menu is to click the directory right here. And this brings up the full list of everyone that's currently on MMC Engage. There we go, once my internet loads. So you can see all 3,088 people that are current users to MMC Engage. This light gray filter option is really powerful, and you can filter down to find exactly who you're looking for, and everything compounds on top of that. So for instance, if I wanted to look for some staff or faculty, I could do that. And then we have 733 faculty and staff users right now. But if I specifically wanted to look for faculty or staff members that were looking for mentors, I could compound that as well. There's none right now because that's a very specific thing to look for, but you can compound all of these categories on top of each other. And then this dark gray X over here just resets the filter and wipes that all away. Through doing these trainings, I've realized that Ryan Atwell and I from Career Services, we have a lot of interest in common, so I always like to pick on his profile. If you click him and you scroll down to his interests, you'll see that some of them are light blue. Those are his interests that he shares with me. So you can see we're both interested in cooking and baking, leadership development, LGBTQ stuff, et cetera, which is why I really recommend building out your interests as much as possible. The same thing happens for what you're looking for, as well as sports, but we don't match for any of those categories. So the more you add to your profile in terms of interests, sports, et cetera, the more likely it is for students, faculty, and staff to be able to connect with you. The system also, depending on how much you build out your profile, suggests people for you to connect with. If you press suggestions for you right there, it shows that I have 184 people that MMC Engage thinks I have a lot in common with. So Meredith Adams and Joanna Afonso would be good suggestions for me according to MMC Engage. Before I go any further, do we have any questions about what I've said so far? Perfect. The next step is building out your office profile or your department profile, which is very similar to building out your personal profile. I'm going to pick on student development and activities because that is what I know the most about. When you are an officer of a group, this is the back of house that you're going to see. If you're only a member of a group, you're not going to see any of this. I'll show you what the landing page would look like for that in a little bit. But here, these are all widgets that you're able to play with if you wanted to add some surveys or forms, which we're not going to get into in this training. That's a bit more involved, workflows, connection programs, etc. All of these widgets that you see right in the center of the page here, they extend down a little bit, and you can also find them all right here in this group menu. So surveys and forms is right here, and if you click that, workflows is just beneath that, and then there's more tools to utilize as well. What I do want to show you is the group page. So this is the main landing page for group members. Again, if you're an officer, you're going to go to the back of house settings page first, but if you're not an officer, you'll land here. And here is really the hub of what's going on in your group. Like a lot of other social medias, such as Facebook or something like that, right in the center is the group feed, where you can post a status, add photos, documents, links, videos, etc. And then everything that you see here has been posted in our group, and it'll just stay here, and things will just be getting added and added on top of that. You can also edit your logo and edit your cover photo just like you would your personal profile. But the thing that I really want to point out is this group links section over here on the right-hand side. This is the navigation for anything that's happening inside of your group. As an officer, you will see these blue and gray wrenches over here. And that means that whatever the link is editable. Specifically, if the wrench is blue, that means it's already something that you or another officer has edited. So that's MMC Engage's way of letting you know that something has changed about that. To change it, you would just click the little wrench right there, and then you can change the name, change the icon if you'd like, where you want the title of the page to be, etc., etc. Another awesome aspect about the group links is you don't have to have all of those there if you don't want to. If you go up to the page settings button right up here and click that, you can check on or off which parts of the group link section you want your members to see and which ones you don't want to see. This is just what we have right now, but like I said, you're able to change that if you want. If we close that, one other important part about this is meeting the staff. This started out as an officers was the title of it, but I just changed it to meet the staff to make it seem a bit friendlier. This is where you can see all the officers of the group that you're a part of, and you can do a lot with just this page as well. You can click that and it'll go, again, it'll pop up their profile, or you can click their name and go to their full profile. You can email them directly from here, or you can send them a chat message as well, which we'll get into in a little bit. There's also, similarly to the officers, there's the members list as well. And you can see all the members that are a part of student development and activities. You can see we have 2,300 members because we asked that all the students be a part of our group as well. So this is really customizable. If, for example, you're part of a group, but you don't want other people to know that, you can go down to My Membership here and toggle your visibility in that group. So you can say, hide me from members and non-members of this group, hide me from just non-members of this group, or hide my attendance to events for members and non-members of this group. So that allows each individual member to really play with the privacy. If, for example, they didn't want to share that part of their life or their identity or what have you with the rest of MMC Engage, but they still wanted to be included in whatever was happening in that group. I mentioned the chat really quickly, so I'll go up here and talk about that. If you click this little chat icon right here, it'll bring up the chat function on MMC Engage. All along the left-hand side here are all the chats that you're a part of. You can click the plus button to create a new chat, and then you can type in whoever you'd be interested in chatting with. You can do both individual group chats. So if we're scrolling down here, I'm having a personal one-on-one chat with Fanny, but the one below it is the SDA.IM group chat, which you can see over here has 4 people. It has Dane, Zakia, Fanny, and myself. So you're able to have both one-on-one chats and group chats. And then no matter what chat it is, you can add files, add pictures, search, or go through more settings. So again, this is a really powerful chat feature. We're really talking about students with this, like if you were part of a group project and you really didn't want your group members' phone numbers, you can just create a group chat. So by the time you're done with the presentation or the project, you don't have those contacts in your phone anymore, and you can just ignore this group chat if you'd like. Gonna go back home real quickly. And I'm gonna direct you down here to the feed. This feed is very similar to the individual group feed that I just talked about, except this really encompasses every group that you're a part of on MMC Engage. So you can see here, I've scheduled a post to go out in 8 minutes actually, and I posted that in the Welcome Week and Orientation group that I'm a part of. You can see down here, Dane just posted something in the Fall 2020 Transfers group. And so every group that you're a part of, whenever someone interacts with MMC Engage, it's going to show up here on the main feed as well. This is really fantastic, so you don't have to go through all of your individual groups, checking the group feed to see what's going on. As you can see, I'm part of 28 different groups, so it's a whole lot easier to just look on one feed for everything rather than going through each of these individual group feeds to see if there's something that I needed or that I missed. just below the groups, we also have topics right here, which is the one exception, I would say, to the feed. The feed shows you everything that's happening in your groups, but the topics, this is something that people are able to post on no matter their group affiliation. So if they wanted to post an idea or a suggestion, they could post on that topic feed, and then everyone on the MMC Engage platform will get a notification about that. They don't have to be in a specific group. Same with if you're looking for roommates off campus or the lost and found topic, everyone has access to those, even if they're not part of any groups. So that's another really handy way to kind of outreach and get word out there to groups that you may or may not be a part of. I'm gonna transition a little bit into creating events. So if we go up here to the events tab and click on that, again, you can see that there's 96 events that are upcoming. Once you click on that, on the left-hand side, you can see all the upcoming events that you've RSVP'd to. So we're here right now in MMC Engage training, and then I've also RSVP'd to 4 other trainings that I'm hosting in the next couple of weeks. So that's a really great way to see everything that's upcoming for you on your calendar. You can also just scroll through and see what's happening, whether or not you've registered, to see if there's anything that interests you. So for instance, if this virtual game night interested me, I could click on that and it'll bring me to the individual event page. Most people won't see this edit or manage button right up top here. My profile has super admin access, so I get back of house access to everything, but not everyone is going to be able to see that. So it might look slightly different for you, but the bones are all still there. So you'll be able to see the title of the event, who's hosting the event. And you can also click on that and it'll bring you to their group page. You can see the date, any tags that they're interested in, and then you can go down and you can click register as well. Once you register, you will be sent a confirmation email, and then you'll also be able to see this video conferencing link. As I was saying previously, MMC Engage does a really great job of tailoring exactly who's able to see what, and this is a good example of that. So Marymount Christian Fellowship, they probably have in this event that you can only see the actual Zoom link once you've registered for the event, which is why right now it doesn't show anything. But once I register, it will most likely become a hyperlink that I can click and have access to the Zoom link. I can also click add to calendar right here, and it'll ask me if I want Outlook or Google Calendar. And if I download that and open up that attachment, it'll go right onto my Outlook calendar, so I'll remember exactly when this virtual game night is. That is how you search for events. I'm going to walk you through creating events now. There are 2 ways to do it. One is to click the create event button right here. But the more common way to do it is to actually go into the group that that's gonna host the event. So if I go back to the student development and activities, again, I can click events right here, or I can go to the side and press it right here. This is going to show me just a quick breakdown of all the events that have happened within student development and activities. So we have 20 events that are upcoming. We've already hosted 130 in the past, and we've deleted 94 for whatever reason. So this is a list of all of the upcoming events. Just like the directory, you'll be able to filter what type of event you're looking for. And then you can go over to this light green button that says create event and click it. If you've made any event templates, they'll show up right here. If not, you're gonna click blank event template. And then right here on the side is a timeline of the process of creating an event. You can click on each of these and it'll bring you to where it is. But we wanna obviously start at the top. Everything that has a reddish orange asterisk is required. So we're just gonna make a really quick event. Fill out the name of the description, the event type. Let's say this is a tabling event. And then event tags are not required, but it's a really great way for students, faculty, and staff to easily search for the type of event that you want. So let's say this is going to be a community building tabling event. That's going to be our tag. You can have as many or as few tags as you would like. I'm the event coordinator. As you can see, a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory: start and end, date and time, where you want it to be, whether it's on campus, off campus, or video conferencing. This is a relatively new feature that's really handy. MMC Engage is really responsive in updating when it gets enough user suggestions. And so this video conferencing wasn't available at the beginning of March just because it wasn't as necessary as it is now. But now that everything has been transitioned to online, there's a video conferencing option. You would then click create a video conferencing link where you can link up your own Zoom account and it'll populate with your personal Zoom ID right there. Select Zoom just so the platform is aware. And then who can see the location? This is what I was talking about with Marymount Christian Fellowship. You can display the location only to users who are registered, or to everyone, or to all users that are currently logged on. So it's really, you're able to tailor it exactly how you would like. There's options for photos and flyers. The distinction between this is a photo is a really small like icon, whereas a flyer is like the full page 8.5 by 11 that you would post up on the wall on campus. You can populate with either a photo or a flyer, both or neither. It's really up to you. More details if food is being provided or not, as well as any file attachments you would like. And then this access and display option is also really powerful. So who is allowed to register for this? Right now it's defaulted to everyone can register. MMC Engage users only means you have to log on. So there's a whole list of options to choose from. If the option is light blue, that means it is expandable. So I suggest expanding it so you can then specify exactly who's able to see it. For this training, for example, I only wanted staff and faculty to be able to sign up for it, so I selected the staff and faculty option. There was some confusion where some faculty and staff weren't able to see these trainings when they clicked on the link, and it was most likely because they weren't logged into their user profile. Because I had this selection or this option selected, only those who had the faculty or staff profile were able to see it, which is why a lot of the troubleshooting was solved once they were able to log in, and then the system recognized them as a faculty or staff. So then we can minimize that, and you can go through and see all the different types of specifications for who you want to be able to register. Again, who can see this event? You can make it so everyone can see it, even though not everyone can RSVP for it. I always put it as just the people who are allowed to register, which again goes back to if you weren't logged in, that's why you weren't able to see it, because it didn't register you as a faculty or staff member. These are just more registration options. You are able to cap it. For example, if I wanted to cap it at 25 people, this might be really good for the social distancing, what's the word I'm looking for? Capacities, because we are at such a smaller capacity these days. So if you were in the commons and you only wanted to cap it at 25, you would be able to keep the RSVP down to just 25. You can also go into edit up in the registration options and start a waitlist if you would like. You would select waitlist yes, and that means that the 26th person onward would then be added to the waitlist. Like I said, when MMC Engage is really good at updating in real time, if one of the people, say the 20th person to register for this event cancels their registration, the system will automatically graduate the first person from the wait list into that open spot. So you no longer have to monitor the wait list or the attendance limit anymore. MMC Engage does all that for you as long as you've set up the wait list properly. There's also a bunch more registration options that I've typically just kept default, and that seems to work for me. You can ask for feedback. You can do it 24 hours after the event, right at the end of the event, or you can just uncheck that if you don't want to get feedback at all. And then finally is more advanced options. For example, if you wanted to add a speaker to it, if you wanted to have a waiver that you've created, things of that nature. So that is basically how you create an event. Does anyone have any questions about that? Perfect. You would then click create event. I don't want this event created, so I'm gonna delete it and I'll say yes. The next thing that you can do, I've talked a lot about individual groups, so I'm gonna actually show you how to search for groups. If you click this, remember when I said the group option is the three people, you can see right now I'm in student development and activities, but it still has the group icon next to it. So this is still the group tab. I can then go over here and press all groups. And this shows me a list of all the groups that are currently on MMC Engage. You can cycle through these categories if you'd like to see just the departments that are currently on MMC Engage, like CAST and the Counseling and Wellness Center. If you wanted to take a look through all the registered student organizations, you can do that as well. Again, this light gray filter is really powerful, and you can compound them however you see fit. If you or students would like to join any of these groups, all you would have to do is click the checkbox right there, say I wanted to join Active Minds and America's Least Wanted Improv Club. I would click those two checkboxes and then press join, and then I would become members of those groups, and it would show up on my feed, and then I could have access to the group feed as well. But I don't need to be members of them right now. I believe the only thing left to talk about is the meeting scheduler, which is something that we've really been pushing for offices and departments to use because it's a really, really powerful tool. To do that, we're going to go back home. There we go, if my internet works. This is actually a really quick side note. You can see right here, there's a quick little orangey 2 next to my feed. That means there have been 2 posts to the feed since I last checked it. I don't need to look at those right now. And you can also see I have 2 new notifications. Again, I don't need to look at those right now. But that's how notifications show up, is in these different colored bubbles all across the website. So if we go down the user menu to connection programs, this is what the platform calls the meeting scheduler. As you can see now, there are 7 connection programs set up across MMC Engage. CSS is set up, IT, et cetera, et cetera. And it allows students, faculty, and staff to make specific meetings with the individuals, what are called hosts in those individual programs. Again, I'm gonna pick on student development and activities because that is my office. So this is similar to what a student will see as well. You can see within student development and activities, there's 4 hosts, and it's me, Dane, Zakia, and Fanny. Right here, we have listed all of our availabilities. When you're the host, yours are gonna show up as links, so you can change them if you would like. And then there are 2 ways to really schedule meetings once you're here. The first is to select an individual person. So if I wanted to have a meeting with Zakia, I would click book. A new window would pop up. And if my internet worked, there we go. It brings me a little pop-up that asks me to book a 30-minute meeting with Zakia. This works in real time with your calendar, so it'll only show times where you're available. So you can see on Tuesday, September 1st, she's available from 9 to 10:30 to book something. But you can see from 11, 11:30, and 12, she clearly has something going on, so the system doesn't let me book with her there. So let's say I wanted to book a 1:30 meeting with her. It auto-populates with my information, and then it also asks me what this topic will be, what the topic of this meeting will be. With that, once I type in, this is just a test, ignore it. I can click submit, and then I, as the submitter, will get an email confirmation saying that this meeting has been booked, and then the meeting will just show up on Zakia's calendar as well. So it's a really handy, instead of having to email back and forth a good time to meet, this is a really great way for students to know what times you're available to meet, so you don't have to have that back and forth. So that was one way to book a meeting. Another way to do it is to just go up here to this orange book button. Say I was a student and I needed to talk to someone in CSS. I don't really care who I talk to, I just need to talk to somebody. That's when you go up here and you press book. And then what will happen when my internet loads is it'll ask me to pick a date and time when I'm available to meet. And then from there, it'll give me a list of people who are available to meet me at that time as well. So if I wanted to host a meeting, or if I wanted to have a meeting with someone from student development and activities, here we go. Let's go to, that's not a good example. Okay, wow, we're all busy. Let's go to Thursday, September 3rd. I wanted to have a meeting at 11 o'clock. This black 2 means that 2 people are available to meet with me, and it's Zakia and Fanny. Again, I can click whoever I want to, and then I can put in the topic of my meeting. So this is a really awesome tool as well, just to be like, I don't really care out of these 4, I don't care who I meet with, I just need to meet with someone at this time. So that's another really powerful thing as well. To set up a meeting scheduler, you would have to, let me check my notes real fast just to double check. Okay, perfect. So to set up a meeting scheduler, you would again have to navigate to the group. We're going to go to student development and activities again. Again, it was a recently used widget, so I can click connection programs right there, or I can go down to more tools and click connection programs right down here. From there, I'll go over again to this orange button and click create a program. Fill out all the required materials with an asterisk. So the program name would be a test program. I'm really creative with my names. You can give a description if you would like, and this could be as general as something like meet with student development and activities, or it could be more specific to the program that you're creating. It's really up to you. We don't necessarily have any guidelines as to what that description needs to be. You also have the ability to change your title. Right now, you're left as a host, as in you're hosting the event. You can change that if you want. You can change the title of participants, and you can also call it something other than a meeting if you'd like. Across the board, we've seen that everyone has just kept it as host participant meeting because that's easiest, but you are able to change it if you'd like. Then down here, there are those horns that I warned about. Then down here, you can see the meeting duration. Can be anywhere from a quick 5-minute meeting all the way to a 3-hour meeting. So you can really determine, we've seen most people set it at 30 minutes, but again, you're able to change it to whatever you would like to be. This buffer time and buffer minutes tells the system that you need this many minutes or 1 hour between each meeting. So if you have a meeting at 4 o'clock for a half hour, that'll go from 4 to 4:30, and then nothing will be available again until 4:35, just to give you that 5-minute buffer. We don't really see what's used across the board. We have a whole range of what we see. Me personally, I like to keep it at 5 minutes. I don't need that much time, but just a little bit of breathing room. Meeting minimum notice is how close to the meeting time are students able to book a meeting with you. So for example, it's 3:42 right now, but if I had my buffer time at 2 hours, students wouldn't be able to set a meeting with me at 4 o'clock because it's within those 2 hours. The next time they would be able to establish a meeting with me is 2 hours from now, so 5:42. This is really handy so students don't show up at 9 a.m. On a Monday saying, I booked with you at 12 o'clock last night. So we recommend at least 12 hours. So you get a 12-hour notice that a meeting has been booked on your calendar. But again, it's really up to you. We're not necessarily requiring you to do any minimum notice if you wouldn't like. The rest of this, we find that if you just keep it as the default, is good enough. You can allow people to apply to be hosts if you would like. You can auto-approve a host if you would like. But keeping it just as this has worked for everyone across the board so far. And it's when you get, this is when you get into like those advanced options that may or may not affect any meeting. So I think leaving it once you, everything past the minimum notice should be left default, and it's perfectly fine. Once you're done with that, then you would press save, and you would see that you have your connection program right here. From there, you can go in and click student development and activities, or whatever you have named this connection program. And then you can go up here to click add host. Once you do that, you would type in your name or whoever you would like to be a host. That's me. Enter a bio if you would like, any host tags, and then you would click submit. And then you would appear as the first host. From there, you specifically can go in and click this pencil icon, and you can edit all of the details of your own individual meetings. This auto-populates with the information that you put in the connection program itself. For example, we put the duration as 30 minutes, which is why it auto-populates to 30 minutes. If I wanted to, I could up that to an hour, and it would make my meetings an hour long without affecting the other 3 hosts in this connection program. Another thing, a really handy trick right now is for the location. All of my meetings right now are going to be held via Zoom. So this is my individual Zoom link right there. So whenever this is put onto my calendar automatically, the location in my calendar already says this. You can also add an invite description right there, which shows up in the body of the appointment on the calendar. And I like to just say, please join me in my Zoom room with the same link that's the location. The only reason I do that is because this will show up as a hyperlink, whereas this will not show up as a hyperlink. And so putting it here, it's really easy to just click that, and then it'll open up the Zoom app, whereas this one I have to copy and paste it and go through that, and it just adds an extra step that isn't necessarily needed. Scrolling down to booking options, again, this is just the default, but it works for me based on the connection program details that we just put in. 5 minutes works for me. The 12-hour notice works for me. And then you can choose if you want your meetings to only be, you could only start them on the hour, on the half hour, on the quarter hour, or anytime. So if you really wanted to start a meeting right now at 3:46, you would be able to do that using this option. Just like the overall connection program, keeping everything else here is pretty standard if you just want to keep it as the default options. That's worked for us completely so far. And then you would press save, and your connection program is complete almost. The final thing that you would have to do is then connect your calendar, your Outlook calendar, to the connection program. In order to do that, this is the one time you do it at the user level rather than the group level. So you would go back to the home page right here, and then in your user menu over here, you would go down to click more, and then click My Meetings. Over here, you can see all of the upcoming meetings that I have with students. Nobody really wants to talk with me yet, so there are no results. You can also see any past meetings that you may have had. Again, nobody has wanted to talk with me, but this is where all my past meetings would have been. And then right here is where you click Manage My Scheduler. This blue box shows up for me that says create meeting schedulers and let others book your calendar. It says that because I've already made the connection between my meeting scheduler on MMC Engage and my Outlook calendar. If you have not made the connection yet, you're going to see a little button here that says something along the lines of connect your calendar. And then you would click it and just follow those steps that way. The one thing that we have noticed that we run into is MMC Engage will not, it won't work in connecting with your calendar if your calendar is already synced with another booking software. I know there's a bunch of them out there. The one I'm aware of is called Calendly. So if I use Calendly to book events or book meetings on my calendar already, MMC Engage won't be able to understand what that means, and it's not going to work. I know there's a big push by a lot of members of the MMC community right now to focus solely on the meeting scheduler, so everything can be held within MMC Engage. But that's the only issue we've really run into when creating the connection program and then connecting it to your calendar. I know I just said a lot of information, but that is the quick overview of everything that's possible on MMC Engage right now. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was great. I'm curious to know, because I'm going to be a link advisor for the fall semester.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have kind of like a group the same way that you do with student development. How would students go about finding me, or do I need to be in a group in order for them to book
Mm-hmm.
a meeting with me?
So as link advisors, you actually should already be a part of your link group. Do you know what section you are?
Yes, I'm section 8.
Sorry, section what?
8.
8. So if you just type in an 8 there, we can find link 101.8. And you can see right now that all of the groups are already created. So the officers are all listed right here. And then if you go to this members list, if it loads, all of your students are right here as well. So all of the link groups have already been updated and populated. So when one of your students goes to this link 101.08 group, they're gonna find this landing page. It's gonna look pretty similar to this. You can see your peer leader Mairead has already posted, and they have access to everything that's already happening in this group. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Sure.
Where does this integrate with Insight, the program that we were encouraged to use, to book office hours, to book academic advisement, to book meetings with students? Are we moving to Engage now instead of using Insight?
I am not entirely sure. I wasn't involved in any conversations relating to Insight. But what I can do is I've taken down your question. I will research that question and I will get back to you as soon as I know a good answer.
The second thing I want to ask is, in that when you were going through things, in terms of setting up of my availability for people to book meetings with me, do I have to do the limitations? Was that part of the thing when I limit essentially my office hours that I'm available?
So if we go back to the connection program and then we expand this, let's see here. Manage my schedulers. So right here, is this what you're talking about, where you add in your availability? You can click Sunday through Saturday and then list what times will be available. This is what's gonna remain static from week to week. So you can see I'm gonna be available 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. That is always gonna stay available, but then when I open up my calendar, MMC Engage connects with your Outlook calendar, and so I I've written on my calendar, I have a lunch break from 1:30 to 2:30 every single day. And so MMC Engage knows that it can't book anything with me during that lunch break because it's positioned on my calendar. Does that answer your question?
Well, yes, I guess, because as a faculty member, I don't have 10 to 4 office hours, that I'm in an office. I'm setting office hours, like 2 to 4 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours total for the week, plus my teaching schedule. So does this mean that people are being asked to book in those open hours? They can't just drop into my Zoom meeting, that they feel that students are going to be asked to book a meeting with me in those office hours?
You are able to activate drop-in hours as well, which eliminates, let me see if I can go back and find it. Activating drop-in hours eliminates the 12-hour notice requirement.
Right.
Let's see, I believe if we go here, where is that button? All right, there's a button somewhere. I can't seem to locate it right now, but there's a button where you can activate your drop-in hours. And what happens is a student, you're going to get a really quick email request that says, oh, right here, drop-ins. You're going to get an email request asking you if you would like to accept the student as a drop-in. And then when you press yes, MMC Engage then blocks off that half-hour period or whatever you have as your default meeting time. It blocks that off because you're in a drop-in meeting. And so if you do activate that, you're not required to have the 12-hour minimum notification or whatever you set that as. People can just drop in, as it were, and then it would block it off for you because you are in an impromptu meeting.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? All right. The last thing that I want to bring up is Kevin Croak and I, over the summer, we created a YouTube video tutorial called Navigating MMC Engage, which is this big button right here. If you click it, it brings you to Student Development's YouTube channel. And then you can see we have a bunch of different playlists that help you learn how to navigate aspects of MMC Engage. This is geared mostly towards student officers, but getting started, this playlist would really benefit anyone who's getting started with MMC Engage. You can see they're all really short. The longest right now is 3.5 minutes, and it really teaches you how to navigate MMC Engage. If you are interested in learning more, all of the different options are right here. And this is going to be a living channel, so we are going to be updating this periodically. I know one that we're working on right now is a playlist about the meeting scheduler. It's not here right now because the student officers it wasn't the most important thing for student officers to know, but it's definitely on our to-do list to create a meeting scheduler playlist as well. If there are no other questions, I'm going to stop sharing.
I'm going to just ask one more question. So I'm looking, I went to engage.mmm.edu for my PC. And it told me that I needed to download software, etc., in order to use Engage on my PC. I think now maybe I can get there without having to download other software. On my iPad, I downloaded the MMC Engage app, which did not have the homepage. It only had the feed available to me. Did I download the wrong app? Because now I'm looking at I went to engage.mmm.edu. Up comes what I'm looking at on the screen that you're sharing right now. But the top says campus groups.
So campus groups is the platform or the software that hosts MMC Engage. This is just tailored to Marymount Manhattan College. Campus Groups also hosts a bunch of different platforms for a bunch of different universities. We have just branded our version of campus groups to be MMC Engage. If you go to the top left corner of your phone or your iPad, you should see a drop-down menu where you can see like campus groups, user community, as well as Marymount Manhattan College. Is that true?
Where? No, wait a minute. I see the home page. I see, I just lost the groups. I just lost that campus. Is this on the home page, what we're looking at now? Or this was the other view?
On the app?
Okay, if I just go to right now on the app on my iPad says MMC Engage. If I put on that, it comes down Karen Kinsley faculty. It says about MMC, mission statement, alma mater, Hail Marymount lyrics, campus tour, welcome videos, campus resources, campus safety.
So
Feed, agenda, chat, and attendees are down on the bottom.
Okay, so if you look along the bottom of your iPad screen, you should see icons that say like feed, chat, events.
Yes, I do see that.
Right now it looks like you're in the more section, the furthest one on the right. Is that, does it look darker than the rest?
Yes.
Okay, so what you would want to do is click the one all the way on the left that should say feed.
So that says, now I come to Welcome Week, Orientation 2020, write a new post.
Okay, so that's correct right now. In the top left corner, you should see a little orange icon with Griffey that's right there.
Yes, yes.
If you click that, you should see a drop-down menu.
Yes.
And then if you click on the Marymount Manhattan College logo, you should come to the overall MMC Engage app.
No, I come to write a new post.
Yes, so this is the landing screen for the MMC Engage app. There's no homepage like I'm displaying on the desktop right now.
Oh, so you have to be on the desktop in order to get all the full features here.
Yes. So
okay. Oh, well, then that makes sense.
If you click more on the bottom right corner, you'll see a lot of the resources. It's just configured a bit differently because the screen size is different. So
I see.
A lot of the features are still accessible on the app, just in a slightly different position.
I see. I just found the meeting scheduler. All right. Sorry to be dense, but all right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries at all. I know our hour is up. I'm going to stop screen sharing. I will stay here if anyone else has any more questions. If not, you all are free to go. And thank you for listening to me talk for an hour.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ben. It's Matt.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.